Hello guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to yet another video. Today we are back with the Championship predictions as we dissect the midweek fixtures. We've got some big ones coming at you. I'm joined by Michael. How are you doing?
I'm going to win this time.
Okay.
I did say last time that I was going to win.
You take your predictions very seriously.
Today I am.
Okay. Let's see what you've got up your sleeve. Let's start with Tuesday's first game. We've got Blackpool versus West Bromwich Albion. This will be interesting because it's not as straightforward as you'd have thought at the start of the season. West Brom have obviously come down, Blackpool have come up, but so far West Bromwich Albion still in third, but their form isn't great, and if they keep this up they will slowly fall down the table. As for Blackpool, another solid point at Swansea, so I think with Blackpool being at home they could really get something, so we're going to say another draw for Blackpool. Blackpool 1, West Brom 1.
I'm going to go 2-1 Blackpool.
Okay.
Just because I always like the underdog, man, and I've watched Blackpool a couple of times this season and I thought, actually not a bad footballing team. They've got some good players. They got a lot. You know, they remind us a bit like me. With Cov, they're just reminding us like they don't have any world beaters. No. But they just work well together.
They've got a good togetherness.
Yeah, but the manager's good and they play a good try. They play a really good brand of football. Like they actually try and pass it out from the back. West Brom are not in good form. They don't like their manager, the fans. But yeah, I want to go Blackpool. I think Blackpool will win it 2-1. Blackpool
2-1. Next up we go to the CBS, Coventry City versus our former landlords Birmingham City. This will be interesting. Birmingham have sold out the away allocation as you'd expect. Coventry City should have a good crowd for a Tuesday night. I'm excited for this. In terms of form, Coventry City still hanging in the playoffs. We're down to 5th now, but still a solid point against Sheffield United. Birmingham City lost at Hull. But the thing is, whenever these two play, it's always a tight game, and I think the last few times we've played them, it's always been a draw, so I'm tempted to go for that. I think it'll be a tight game. Either team could win it. If they do, it'd be by 1 goal, but I'm actually going to go for Coventry 1, Birmingham 1.
I think, we've got 7 points from our last 9?
Yeah.
And I looked at those on paper and I thought, I wouldn't have thought we'd have got many because we weren't going into it in good form. I think the international break probably came at the wrong time for us. But the Blues got beat by Hull 2-0 and it could have been about 6. But that's typical Blues. They'll come to the Rico and they'll park the bus. They won't try and play expansive football. They'll just hoof it up front to Deeney. I just think it's going to be ball. I think it'll be 0-0. I don't think there'll be many goals. I don't know. We should win. But we've seen it over the last 2 seasons. We don't beat Birmingham. We just draw with them every time, and it's always a draw. I want to go 0-0.
0-0. Yeah, it could be a tight game. Let us know what you think of that one down below. Next up, we go to the Riverside. Middlesbrough versus Preston North End. Both teams didn't pick up a win at the weekend. Preston lost after taking the lead against Cardiff City, and Middlesbrough picked up a 1-1 draw. Chris Wilder's only just getting his feet under the desk though, so I might go for another draw here. I think these two just not consistent enough at the moment to break into that sort of battle for the playoffs. So I'm going to go Middlesbrough 1, Preston 1.
I was going to do the same, but I'm going to swap it up now because I want to go 1-0 Preston. I think, like you said, Wilder's going to come in, he's going to make changes. It's going to take a bit of time for it to gel. But Preston are a weird team, man. They're just happy to stay in the Championship. They just plod on, don't they, every season. They get results. But I think they are better away from home than they are at home, aren't they, Preston? This season anyway, I think. So I'm going to go 1-0 Preston.
Okay, interesting.
Cool.
No, yeah, that's fine. Next up we go to the City Ground. We've got Nottingham Forest versus Luton Town. It's a tricky one this. Nottingham Forest, I think they no longer have the new manager bounce, but they're still in okay form. Obviously that's worn off, but they're still picking up points and they're still slightly climbing. It was a 1-1 draw against Reading at the weekend. As for Luton, we saw them lose on the Friday night, which means they do have the chance to take more rest than Nottingham Forest, having played a day earlier. I don't know what to think of this one. I might go for another draw, but to shake it up, I'm going to say Forest 2, Luton 2.
See, I think Luton are the best team we've seen this season.
They were good.
As God fans, but we were awfully, just as bad. We weren't at the races at all. But every single time I've backed Luton to win, they haven't. Okay. So I'm going to go 2-0 Forest, and I think Forest will beat them. 2-0
Forest, interesting. I think that game could be pretty tasty. Next up, we go to the later game on the Tuesday night, which is between Reading and Sheffield United. We watched Sheffield United against Coventry, and it's hard to judge someone. It's hard to judge a team when it's such a dead beat like that game. I think both teams could have had chances to pinch it, but there really wasn't much in it. I think Sheffield United, they're not standing out at this point. They're struggling for form, they're struggling to put wins together, but they do have potential, and they're going up against a Reading team which drew at the weekend as well, and obviously they had that 6-point deduction, so I'm not sure what to think of this. I don't want to go for another draw. Do you know what? I'll go for a Sheffield United win. It's one of them where either team could do with the 3 points, but I'm just going to give them to Sheffield United. Reading 0, Sheffield United 1.
I'm going to go Reading 1-0.
Okay.
I thought Sheffield United for 70 minutes were one of the worst teams I've seen this season.
You reckon?
Yeah, we had a 21-year-old Ben Sheaf running rings around them for 70 minutes, and you look at their squad, right? They've got internationals, they've got good players, but you know, when you just look at them and you just think, they're just not very good. And I know they had a couple of chances towards the end, that's only because we made the wrong substitution, but
they could have pinched it.
Yeah, and I still feel like if we'd have lost that game, drew that game, I still feel hard done by. I think we should have won the game. I think we had enough in the first half. I thought we were very good in the first half. We pressed them. We made a lot of almost moments. You know, like those moments that are almost there. But I think only having one up front really did affect us in that way. But I think Reading will win just because they've actually got something to play for now. Like, they've got to look over their shoulder. So they've got something to play for, and I think Reading will win 1-0.
Reading will win 1-0. We'll move on to Wednesday's games. We have got Barnsley versus Swansea City. Barnsley...
they're done, mate.
Yeah, just not good, is it? I mean, they lost against Fulham, and we know Fulham are going to beat a lot of teams, but they're just looking very bad at the moment. I suppose it's one of them games where you can write it off, but you've got to try and get something from your next game. And they're going against Swansea. Swansea, I thought at the weekend, looked okay at times. I think their game with Blackpool kind of... They had their moments, didn't they? It was a good goal from Joel Perreault. I think I'm just going to fancy Swansea here. Barnsley just need a point. Barnsley just need something from this game, but I don't even think they're going to get a draw. I think Barnsley 0, Swansea 1.
I'm going to go 3-0 Swansea.
3-0, wow.
Barnsley are awful, mate.
Yeah.
Like, I think Swansea are the best team I've seen this season, other than Luton, on the ball.
Yeah.
Barnsley don't have confidence. Swansea will suck that out of them by just keeping the ball for long periods of the game. I think they'll just pass them to death like they did with us, and they're just a very confident side, Swansea are. And they're starting to click a little bit, aren't they? They're starting to move up the gears a little bit. And they've got good players, man. They have got good players. But Barnsley, man, just honestly, they're living on that wave from last season, aren't they? And they overachieved last year, big time. And then I don't even think they lost. They lost their one player, didn't they? Mowat. Yeah, it's not looking good for Barnsley. I just feel like I'm back against them every single week, and it doesn't ever let me down. So
yeah, honestly, yeah.
Swansea 3, I think they'll hammer them. I think they will. It's a tough old road this is now for Barnsley. It's like you can't really see the positives at the end of it, can you? Really?
No.
It's getting to Christmas, and Derby have been reducted 21 points, is it, this season? And they're only what?
I don't know, 10 points behind them.
Yeah, and it's just like, do you know what I mean? It's just a bit soul destroying that they're probably going to finish bottom to a team that's finished on minus 21 points this season. So
honestly, Barnsley is very worrying. It's quite depressing for their fans as well. So they need to get that next win soon. Next up, we go to Ewood Park, Blackburn versus Peterborough. Do you know what? I look at this fixture, I think there should be quite a few goals in it. Now I've said that, it'll probably be 0-0.
They're both quite fun teams. Yeah,
they're both quite attacking, and they'll both go at it thinking they can win this. I think Blackburn should win this because they're the home team, but I don't know with Peterborough. They do need to improve on the road, and I fancy them to maybe get a draw here. Depends how this game plays out, but I'm going to go Blackburn 2, Peterborough 2.
So I'm going to go 2-0 Blackburn. I think Peterborough are one of the worst away forms in the division, haven't they? They're not good away from home. And
no.
Blackburn have got Barnes and Diaz up front, and he just scores every game. It's like, even if he doesn't play well, he scores. And I seen Peterborough at our ground. They were good for 60 minutes. And the moment they concede a goal, they just completely crumble. But I'm going to go Blackburn 2-0.
Blackburn 2-0. Next up, we go to Bristol City versus Stoke City. Stoke City with another win. They beat Peterborough 2-0 at the weekend, and they just keep chugging along, don't they, Stoke City? You got to fancy them here against the Bristol City team, which are just a bit inconsistent, to be honest. They picked up a 1-1 against Blackburn, but I think you've got to fancy Stoke to take all 3 points with them. I'm going to go 2-0 to Stoke.
So I was going to say the same. Yeah, Bristol City are poor. They've just got no plan. Like against us, when we won down to 10 men, they're cruising 1-0 up, and they just don't have a plan, and they don't have many good players. And yeah, I just feel like Stoke have got a good side. They're level on points with us now, so they're creeping up slowly. I'm going to go 1-0 Stoke. 1-0
Stoke. Next up, we go to Cardiff City versus Hull City. Both teams won at the weekend, so should be an interesting one if they're both high on confidence. Cardiff City starting to turn things around slowly. As for Hull City, back-to-back wins for them. I don't know, because they're both starting to put the form right. I think I might just go for Cardiff with being the home team. So Cardiff 2, Hull City 1.
I'm going to go 1-0 Hull.
1-0 Hull.
I don't like Cardiff.
Really?
Yeah, I don't really like them.
Okay.
I'm just going to go hold. It's be a really boring game of football. Like, it's not a game that I shout so you can go, ooh. So I'm going to go 1-0 Hull just to... Yeah, I like an underdog, so let's go.
Yeah. Next up, we go to Craven Cottage, Fulham versus Derby County. This is on the Wednesday. I'll probably do a live stream for this one, so do join me for that. This one should be interesting because it's top versus bottom, and it was top versus bottom when Derby played Bournemouth at the weekend, but Derby actually went and beat them, and I made a video after that saying Derby really could survive this season. There's a long way to go, but if they were to follow that result up with something here, then you'd start to believe, wouldn't you? It might be asking just a bit too much against a Fulham team that are feeling like they're scoring a lot, aren't they? They're scoring so many, and Mitrovic is dangerous.
They've won every single game since we beat them.
Yeah, I think Derby County are showing that they're going to put in some fight this season, but this one might just be a bit too much for them. I'm going to go Fulham 2, Derby 1.
I'm going to go 1-1. I was watching the Derby game on the weekend, and they actually played quite well, and they did everything right. Bournemouth are a good side.
Yeah.
And they made them look remotely average. I know they scored 2 goals, but they made them look remotely average for the last 35 minutes. And there's going to be a time, we beat Fulham 4-1 and we made them look terrible. Yeah. There's going to be a time where they're going to falter. And a few injuries here and there, but I think 1-1. I think Derby have got nothing to lose now. They might as well just go for it.
Yeah.
And they're actually doing quite well, to be honest. If you'd have took their points deduction away from them, they'd be doing all right. So
yeah.
So I'm going to go 1-1.
1-1.
Yeah.
Next up, we go to the Den, Millwall versus Bournemouth, and if you're a Bournemouth fan, it's not worth worrying about too much. It's only just that one defeat for now in the last few games, I suppose. And I know they lost at home to Preston, but that was a couple of weeks ago. I think things in general still look good for Bournemouth. They've got that cushion over third place. I know Fulham seem to be shooting up and up and up and up, but Bournemouth could just hang on in there and be second this season, which would still be a great achievement. But this game is a potential banana skin, isn't it? Millwall are a tricky customer, and do you know what? Bournemouth are actually going to lose again. I'm going to say Millwall are going to win this one, 1-0.
Yeah, they're like an old boy in the division, aren't they? In the sense that they just seem to have that street knowledge and just they don't have any fantastic footballers. They just seem to do really well, and they just seem to make it difficult for us. Like when we went down there, it's just not a nice place to go. The Den, it's just you don't enjoy yourself if you're a fan, if you're a player. It's just one of those players that's notoriously really difficult to go to. See, I'm going to go Millwall 2-1.
Millwall 2-1.
So I think Bournemouth are faltering a little bit. I think they've been figured out, and they don't have a good bench. They just have a good starting lineup, and I think they're starting to tire a little bit. And I think the international break proved it. Then against Derby ran them off the pitch at times. So I'm going to go 2-1 Millwall. 2-1
Millwall. Yeah. It would be interesting if Bournemouth were to slip up a little bit. Then I wonder if West Brom, Stoke or Coventry could start to catch up with them. We'll wait and see. The last game is a battle between two teams chasing the playoffs this season, Queen's Park Rangers and Huddersfield Town. Oof, they both won at the weekend. QPR on the Friday night against Luton. Huddersfield beat the Baggies 1-0. Good results for both. This is tough. I might just go for QPR. I think at home they are looking quite solid. QPR 2-1.
I'm going to go 1-0 QPR.
Yeah.
They got my favourite player in the Championship as well. Elias Chair.
Oh, Chair. Yeah.
He just makes football look so easy, man. He's like he describes him as like a street baller. He just tries to get nutmegs. He's just so nice on the ball. He's such a good player. QPR are actually quite a good team.
Chair, Willock, Austin.
Their strike forces, they've got the best strike force in the division.
Yeah, that's solid.
Like, you look at their strikers, they got, what's his name?
Austin.
Lyndon Dykes.
Yeah.
Charlie Austin.
Willock,
and there's another one as well that they've got a good striker as well, and it's going to wind me up.
You could go on for ages.
But they've got actually good quality players in that team, and they've got a good midfield, they've got good centre backs. I just think they'll be alright. I think they'll just make a they're slow and steady, aren't they? Yeah. Slow and steady, making their way towards it. They know what they want to do. They know they want the playoffs. And I think they will get there, but I think they'll win 1-0. Yeah, that wraps up this week's predictions video, guys. Let us know your predictions down below. If you are new to the channel, you know the drill. Hit the like button, subscribe, do all that lovely stuff, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace out.